next guest put this fact out there. He said this, that the federal government is twice the size it was in 2001. Senator Tom Coburn, he's a physician and a citizens and a legislature. He joined the Senate in 2004, and Dr. Coburn has pledged to serve no more than 2 terms in Senate and to continue to care for patients. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Homeland Security, Government Affairs Committee, and the Committee on Finance. Senator Coburn also serves in the U.S. House of Representatives, completing his promise to serve no more than 3 terms. Senator Coburn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
Now, I understand that you're also referred to as Dr. Coburn. Is that right? I
am.
Okay. Is that more comfortable for you, Dr. Coburn?
Tom is just fine for me.
Okay, Tom Coburn. All right. Well, Tom, I got to tell you, my staff here loves the book, The Debt Bomb. And in that book, you point out this term, and I'd actually never seen this term before. Maybe it's thrown around a lot, but the term is careerism. Tell us about your thoughts on careerism.
Well, there's a natural tendency in politics to look into the horizon to protect your own political interest. And what I've seen in my lifetime, and it's a relatively new phenomenon in the United States Congress, is that what we have is 70% career politicians and 30% people other than career politicians serving. And when the natural tension comes down to make a decision that will impact your political career versus doing what is best for the country, the default position too often for career politicians is to do what protects their career. And so they have a conflict of interest. The conflict of interest being don't do what's best for the country, do what's best for your political career. And so they rationalize, well, I'll do this now so I'll be here next time to do something good. And they're good people, they care about the country, but they're conflicted. And they're also limited. Because if you're a career politician, you really don't have much real-world experience. You don't have the hard knocks, the blood, sweat, and toil that most Americans do living in this country, and therefore they lack a large amount of common sense. You could put it in a thimble for most of them. And so consequently, we get terrible decisions, poor management, we get duplication. We've outlined $350 billion worth of waste, fraud, and duplication that I can show every American, and they'd be surprised how much government they wouldn't miss when that went away. And so we have a real problem in terms of who we send to Congress. And if you want to fix our country, you got to quit sending the political elite up here and start sending people with real-world experience to Washington. We have to do 4 things, George, to fix our country. One is we have to reform the tax code so that it truly reflects taxes collected on income rather than the games played in the tax code. We can lower the rates for everybody, we can broaden the base, and the federal government will actually get additional revenue. And the reason they will is because there's $2.6 trillion sitting on the sideline that isn't being invested because nobody knows what the heck the government's going to do. So you'll get growth, you'll get job creation out of that by reforming the tax code. We have to save Social Security and we have to save Medicare. And we can do that. And
is that number 2? Is that number 2? You had
and
4
we can
things.
keep our commitments. We can keep our commitments, but it's going to require some sacrifice on those of us that are younger and those of us that are wealthier, that we're not going to get either the benefit exactly when we thought we were, or we're going to get somewhat less, especially if we're making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in our retirement. And then the 4th thing we can do is we can do what every other country right now that's successful is doing, and that's take advantage of our natural resources. What most people don't realize, and what the Obama administration is trying to kill, even though they're saying otherwise, we've reduced dependence on foreign oil in this country in 5 years from 60% to 42%. We can take that to 20% in the next 5 years. That's $200 billion a year we won't be sending out of this country, but will be invested in this country. That's like having a $200 billion a year stimulus to our economy. We won't have to borrow a dollar to do that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you couldn't be. We have 38% of the world's proven mineable coal reserves, and we're exporting a very minute percentage of what we produce. Meanwhile, China's gone from using 600 million to 4 billion tons in the last decade, and we're not enjoying any exports of
well, we
coal.
we are getting some of that, especially as this administration's clamped down on coal, and we're starting to use natural gas to fire a lot of these utility power centers. But the point I would make is you can create 1 million jobs a year through energy exploration and energy production in this country. Final point is, if we take advantage of our natural resources, we will revive the American entrepreneurial spirit. With natural gas at $2 a million BTU, if it doubled to $4, we still have a 3-to-1 to 4-to-1 advantage over everybody in the world in terms of raw material production, which means everything that you eat, the clothes you wear, the furniture that you sit on, everything has a plastic or organic and also inorganic component to it. So we can produce ethylene at a third the cost of anybody else in the world. Well, that's the base feed product. And all this natural gas is producing propane and ethane, liquids, that make us more competitive. The cost of fertilizer in this country is going to go way down because of the price of natural gas, and it's going to stay down because of the price of natural gas. In other words, we're going to become a net energy exporter, and we're going to have an extra $300 to $400 billion a year if we handle our energy resources properly. And we can do that in an environmentally friendly way. We've done it in Oklahoma. We haven't contaminated. In the last 70 years, we've not had one contamination of a water source in Oklahoma in all the time, and we lead in technology in that. And we developed horizontal drilling and fracking in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but it's so amazing the way it gets twisted around to put speed bumps in the way of that kind of growth and production that our country could do. I'll tell you, Senator Dr. Coburn, I completely agree with your points on getting America back on track. And I do think we can grow our way out of this mess if we have strong leadership in Washington that's not involved in your term careerism. I just couldn't agree with you more. I think you're right on target here, and I hope you keep up the good fight. And I really appreciate you writing the book, The Debt Bomb. I think so many people needed to hear these facts. The 138,000 per government employee blew me away. I knew it was high. I mean, and I read this and consume data every day, and even that fact threw me a little bit. So
let me leave you with one thought. Our country has done hard things before. Individual Americans know how to do hard things. What we lack is the leadership to call us to do it. Yeah. And we have a president right now that's dividing our country rather than pulling our country together. And we need to be pulled together, talk to it like adults, saying, here's the problems, here's the sacrifices. We're all going to share in it, but we can get out of this, and we need to do it together. And it's good leadership that will do that.
I hope you continue to beat that drum, and you know that George Jarkesy and a lot of the listeners to our show will beat it along with you. We sure appreciate it.
All right. Well, great to be with you, George. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. That's Senator Dr. Tom Coburn.